Hello everybody, my name is Jackson Oyeko and my topic for the practicum was comparing behavioral risk factors in relation to geographic location. A little bit about the introduction. My focus is on behavioral risk factors in relation to geographical locations. And to begin with, my data was obtained from data.gov and I'm going to focus my study on simple bar plot charts to visualize the different medical conditions that I'm going to focus on in relation to the different states that the data was collected from. And I'm going to focus more on 5 medical conditions covered in a span of 5 years. There was multiple medical conditions included and the data set was extremely large, so I just picked 5 out of the many that were included. There was no any specific order or anything. I just picked 5 out of the multiple data included. So the behavioral risk factors that I'm going to cover include depression, binge drinking, kidney disease, cardiovascular diseases, and COPD. And like I've mentioned, there was no any special reason I picked these medical conditions. I just picked 5 out of the many and focused on them. A little bit about the data that I used. The data contained several medical conditions included, and the data was also collected from all the 50 states, including US territories like Guam and Virgin Islands. And the data was collected based on patient responses. So patients were asked questions like, for example, have you ever been told you have depression? And the responses were collected as either yes or no. So my approach to this analysis is to focus on analyzing the different medical conditions individually and compare them to other numbers from other states. So I am going to approach it by doing the top 5 for each condition and the bottom 5 for each year beginning 2011 to 2017. Then I will plot bar plots for each sample size, again as the top 5 and the bottom 5 of each state. And then I'll compare to see which states had, for example, the highest number of patients recorded with depression or the lowest number of depression. And I'm doing that for 2011 to 2017. Here's an example of what I am talking about for my plot. So as you can see, the topic is comparing COPD in top 5 states in 2011. So this is just one of the plots that I had. If you look at the analysis itself, there was all the plots I included. But since there's time constraint in the video, I did not include all the plots in the video. So for example here, you can see Massachusetts had the highest number of patients recorded to have COPD and followed by Kansas and then followed by Nebraska, Kentucky, and then Florida. This is the top 5. And then over the next slide here shows the bottom 5 states that recorded the lowest number of COPD patients. And Guam was the lowest state, followed by Alaska, Puerto Rico, District of Columbia, and next North Dakota. This next slide, I included the different the top 5 and the bottom 5 COPD by the state. So in this slide, I'm just mentioning the top 5 and the bottom 5, but I'm not including the plot and the actual numbers that were shown on the plot. So on the left side, I'm showing you the top states, and on the right side of your screen, it's going to be the bottom 5 for each state that recorded COPD. The first one up here is 2011. Massachusetts recorded the highest number of patients with COPD, and also in 2012 they recorded the highest number of patients with COPD. Then in 2013 it was Florida, 2014 was Kentucky, 2015 was Illinois, 2016 was Kansas, and 2017 was Florida. On the right side, you can look, see 2011, 2012, 13, 14, 15, and 17 were all recorded by Guam. So Guam had the least number of patients experiencing COPD for all those years. The only year that they didn't record the lowest number was 2016, and that was Virgin Islands that had the lowest number. The next topic I did was depression, and what I noticed was Nebraska had the highest number of depression in 2011 and 2014. Then Massachusetts had the highest number of depression in 2012, and Florida had the highest number of depression in 2013 and 2016, and Kansas had the highest number of depression in 2015 and 2017. Then the states that recorded the lowest number of depressed patients was Guam from 2011 to 2015, and also in 2017. And in 2016, Virgin Islands had the lowest number of patients with depression. The next topic that I covered was binge drinking, and what was defined as binge drinking was having at least 5 drinks occasionally, and that would include a consecutive days or once a week, but it was just the idea of sitting in one sitting and drinking at least 5 drinks. So the format is still the same. On the left side we have the state that had the highest number of binge drinkers, and on the right is the bottom 5 states that had the least number of people binge drinking, and then on the left is the top 5. So as you can see, in 2011 Nebraska recorded the highest number of citizens experiencing binge drinking, and 2012 it was Massachusetts, then the state of Florida in 2013, then again in 2014 Nebraska had the highest number of binge drinkers, and 2015 was Minnesota, 2016 was New York, and 2017 was Kansas. When it comes to the bottom 5, we had Guam in 2011, 12, 13, 15, and 17, while Tennessee had the least number in 2014, and Virgin Islands had the least number in 2016. So I focused on 5 medical conditions, that was binge drinking, depression, COPD, kidney disease, and cardiovascular diseases. But due to time constraint in this video and presentation, I'm only doing the 3 conditions: binge drinking, COPD, and depression. But the whole presentation analysis had all the 5 medical conditions that I mentioned earlier in the presentation. So in summary, I noticed some states appear to dominate some conditions over others. For example, Kansas had a lot of depression, and also Florida, and there was a lot of COPD in Florida and New York. And one thing I noticed about the data, it might have been biased and it might have contributed to the different numbers appearing to be extremely large in some states and some states experiencing low numbers. And this could be just because of the state size. Like Guam is a very small state, so having low numbers of patients responding to these questions will mean Guam will experience low numbers all the time. So probably working with percentages might have helped eliminate this bias, but at this time I focused just on the summary of the numbers that I had. And also the sample size that were included was not large enough to generalize about the whole population. So this probably wasn't the best study that you could say that, let's say Kansas has too much depression, because the state of Kansas has approximately 7 million citizens, and the data that was recorded for most of these conditions was up to 2,000, 3,000, and that is not enough data to make general assumptions. And the one positive I got from the analysis is that it gives you a glimpse and some idea of what to expect in certain states. Like if we assume this data was accurate and was giving good information, we would say Guam would be the best state to live because it had low numbers of depression, low numbers of binge drinking, low numbers in cardiovascular diseases. So it can give you some rough idea on what to expect from a state. So that's all I had from my presentation. I want to thank you all for watching and listening. Thank you.